Alright guys, so today we are going to be finishing up the last steps of our Japanese cherry blossom inspired vase. So the last time we were together, we were finishing up the vase and we were gluing it down onto our light blue background paper. And we were specifically using the dark blue Mr. Sketch markers so that we get this really nice bright blue and white pottery, which is inspired by Asian pottery as well. So today we are going to begin by adding in our cherry blossom branches. We're going to be using a different kind of paint today, and we don't use these very often, but these are called temper cakes, and they work just like a watercolor, but they are more opaque or more solid color than a watercolor. So we will have these little cups of the black solid temper cakes, and I have already wet the top of my my paint here, but we do have to have a wet paintbrush to make these work. So I'm going to take my wet paintbrush and get the extra drips off. I'm going to get some of my black paint on my paintbrush loaded up, and then we are just going to lift up the top of our vase where our stems would come from, and then draw our stems out. I'm going to get a little bit more water, a little bit more paint, and take another one here, go this direction. So naturally, when trees grow, they are actually, the stems or branches would be wider at the bottom and then more narrow as it gets farther away from the trunk. So this one, how it's wider here and it's skinnier here, this is actually would be backwards. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit more natural looking. I'm going to fatten it up at this end and then make it skinnier at that other end. Get some more paint here, and we just want our stems to go in all various directions. There's no real rhyme or reason. So once I have the main stems down, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more water, a little bit more paint. I'm going to start making some of the branches that branch off of my stems. So as they get farther away, they're going to get thinner and thinner, because that's just the way that trees grow in nature. Maybe one more there. That's pretty good. Now, these temper cake paints, they dry pretty quickly on your paper. So we're just going to let it set for just a second and talk about how we will be putting in our flowers. So we're going to use some different shades of pink tissue paper, and these will be the cherry blossom flowers that will go onto our stems once our branches, once they dry. So we'll just take a chunk of tissue paper. I'm going to go ahead and actually tear it in half because it's kind of big. I think I can get 2 flowers out of this one dark color. So I'll set that to the side. And then all we're going to do is wad up our tissue paper. We will put a dab of glue wherever we want our flower to go. Oops, that was too much. I had to squeeze too hard. And then we're going to stick our flower on there, just like that. And we're just going to do this in a few different places. Take our tissue paper, wad it up, stick it in the glue. And I'm going to go ahead and spread them out. I have another couple pieces of the dark pink here. So again, I'm going to tear it in half, wad it up, stick it on. Put one over here. And so what we're doing by adding the tissue paper to the flowers, and you might need to put another dab of glue in your flower like that so that you can stick it down. But what we're doing is we're making a three-dimensional texture because your flowers are actually going to be sticking up and out of your artwork, and I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to take a lighter pink now, wad it up, over here maybe. I want to kind of scatter my colors around so that we don't have all dark pink and all light pink. I even have some white. This is just a white piece of tissue paper, and we can use that color also, so I'm tearing it in half. So we're just going to keep going until you have the number of cherry blossoms that you are happy with. Kind of balancing the colors of our flowers in our artwork so that we have some dark on this side, some dark on that side. I think I'm going to do a few more of the light pinks. Put a light pink over here. Like that. Maybe a light pink here. I'm going to put a couple more white ones because I'm noticing I have two whites on this side but none on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and balance out my white by adding a white one over here somewhere. Going it down. Looking pretty good. I'm going to put one more dark pink. I think it could use a dark pink one over here. It will help balance the dark pinks on that side. So again, I'm just tearing my paper in half, wadding it up, and putting it somewhere around in that area. Now, once you are happy with the number of flowers that you have, if this is sticking up, like mine's kind of sticking out now because I had bent it so far back, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple dabs of blue here, just to stick that down. And what we've created with this 3D flowers, we've actually made kind of a relief in our artwork. So you can see how the flowers stick up off the paper. And so we have this nice three-dimensional texture to our artwork, which is just really interesting and something else for our eye to look at when we're looking at artwork. So that will be it for our Japanese cherry blossom vases.